Hello everyone, this is Darian of GMV Productions, and today, popular YouTube video essayist Nando V Movies has started another YouTube collab, celebrating One Last Scene. The final scene of a movie, TV show, game, etc., and going over what makes them so special. 2023 has marked an end to a lot of franchises and series. In this video, I'll be going over a series that has really touched my heart, that being Doom Patrol. Doom Patrol's final 4 episodes saw their release fairly recently. I do plan on making a video on the series as a whole at some point, hopefully in 2024, so stay tuned if you want to check that out. Doom Patrol as a series isn't like your typical superhero show. Yeah, it revolves around superpowered characters and focuses on them stopping bad guys and such, but the main draw of the show is taking a look at very flawed and damaged people and watching them explore their very traumatic lives and come to grips with who they are as individuals, and learn to not only love one another, but more importantly, love themselves. I could very easily gush about the entire final episode as it beautifully wraps up every individual character's story. But to keep things consistent and on brand, I'm only going to focus and limit myself to one scene, that being the last scene of the entire show, the I Made It Home scene. Now, to go over this scene, I need to go over the character who houses it. Ladies and gentlemen, Clifford Steele. Now, I'm going to try my best to not go over every single little thing Cliff has gone through in this series, as we would be here all day. Clifford Steele is the first character we get introduced to in the Doom Patrol series. He's introduced as a race car driver who suffers a terrible accident with his wife and daughter that presumably kills them. Then scientist, and the cause of said accident, but that's not important right now, Niles Calder manages to sever his brain and put it into this robot body. Cliff spends literal decades sulking over the loss of his body as well as his wife and kid. Eventually, in the show, he finds out his daughter survived the accident and has led a pretty decent life unbeknownst to him. He seeks her out in an attempt to connect with her. He finds that she's not only married, but pregnant as well. And eventually, through a bit of trial and error, they eventually do form a pretty decent relationship. Followed by the eventual birth of his grandson Rory, Cliff essentially finds a new purpose. As I said before, Doom Patrol isn't exactly like your typical superhero show. Yeah, the team goes on missions to stop a villain from time to time and to save the world and whatnot, and there's a lot, and I mean a lot, of weird comic booky shenanigans. But primarily, it centers around our titular characters dealing with their issues. And after Rory is born and Cliff rekindles his relationship with his daughter Clara, his main goal is to spend as much time with them as he has with them. Given his Parkinson's diagnosis, don't ask how a brain in a robot suit is able to get Parkinson's. It makes more sense when watching the show. It ain't all that likely he'll get as much time as he wanted. And so it all brings us to this final scene. After the team kind of defeats the big bad guy, the team basically disbands to go live their own lives. We follow each member in little moments concluding their stories, and they're all amazing. And we finally end things off with Cliff himself in this amazing scene. To go over the contents of the scene briefly, it starts with Cliff and Clara fixing up an old car that Cliff had been working on for a while. With Rory in the passenger seat, Cliff tries to reach for him, but his Parkinson's flares up, leaving him stuck. But the magic glowy crystal thingy the bad guy they sorta defeated gave Cliff earlier in the episode begins to glow. And we follow it as it shows Cliff a highlight reel of Rory's life, the life of his grandson he won't be able to be a part of. And after the vision ends, Cliff is left looking longingly at Rory holding his finger, the only part of Cliff's robot body that can actually feel physical contact. Clara asks Cliff if he's okay, and he responds with a simple, "Yeah, I made it home," before he shuts down and passes on. I adore this scene for so many reasons. First of which being that, yeah, it's pretty poetic as hell that the show closes out on the first member of the team we're introduced to. Cliff makes a fuck ton of mistakes throughout the show and is done super dirty in a lot of instances as well, but you can't help but root for him the more he finds happiness with his family. The entire thing with the finger as well was a big thing with his character this season, and I just find it adorable that he gets to go out with his grandson holding on to him. But my absolute favorite thing that this scene did, that I think only I really appreciate, as I haven't seen many others bring it up, is that when Cliff is shown Rory's whole life, they don't shy away and show him only the good bits. They show him the really bad parts as well. Rory's kind of an asshole. He walks out on his girlfriend and kid, almost mirroring the mistakes Cliff made in his own marriage. I don't know, I just get the feeling that if most other shows did this sort of thing or has done it, they wouldn't show any of the bad sides someone's life can bring. Or maybe another piece of media has done this sort of thing and I'm just unaware. You guys can let me know. But the point is that Cliff was able to see it all. And the scene ends with this simple but powerful delivery from Brendan Fraser.
Dad!
It's okay. It's okay. I made it home.
This is what it is.
Putting an end to Doom Patrol as a whole, and a much-deserved happy ending to Cliff Steele's character. Doom Patrol is a show that I hold near and dear to my heart, and I couldn't have thought of a better note for this show to end on. There was a lot more I could have dived into, but I settled solely on this scene because of how amazingly simple it is. And that was my pick. Doom Patrol's one last scene. So, if you agree or disagree with anything I've said in this video, let me know right down there in the comments below. Also be sure to like, subscribe. This is Dariano G&B Productions, and take care.